to today. And what a bloody week I've had. When things go wrong, they tank. I mean, properly, straight down. Basically, we found out 2 days ago now, the landlady is going through a divorce. And there is a very strong possibility that she's going to sell this place. So it looks like we're going to have to move, which is always a pain in the rear end at the best of times. Now, as some of you are aware, but if you're not, I shall let you in on the little secret. Last year, obviously, with everything with my dad and so on and so forth, by the end of the year, close to the end of the year, with everything we'd had to do and everything we'd had prior to my dad phoning us and so on and so forth, the cars and things, myself and Bert were in roughly £52,000 worth of debt, give or take a couple of quid. And at this precise point in time, because I worked it out yesterday because I went to the bank, and this is fantastic, this is. Due to giving, obviously, Bert's car back and certain other things that we've managed to achieve and payments we've managed to make, we currently, if I were to give my car back, which under the agreement I currently have, I've now gone past the point where I can give my car back, so I can if I wish to. Without my car, we are 23,000 in debt. Now, who wants to stand there and tell me I'm crap with money? I've gone from 52 to 23,000. With my car, it's about 30. But like I said, I'm at the point now where I can write a letter to the finance company and give the car back. So that's neither here nor there. I can choose to do that whenever. Now I've got 2 credit cards, 2 loans, obviously the car payment, things like that. And I went to the bank yesterday. I'd worked everything out. Absolutely everything out. I got it all written down. And what I wanted to do was consolidate loan. Take absolutely everything, because you know how things spiral out of control sometimes. You don't quite have enough left over at the end of the month because you've made extra payments, or you've made your payments. You've had the water bill come through, and so you bung something on the credit card, and it can spiral very easily. Well, I went down there and I said, look, I want to consolidate everything into one. Now, I'd worked out it would be circa £450 a month for 5 years. Now, that might sound like quite a lot. Please understand, when I give my car back, that's £298 a month, 72 pence, a month I get back. Yeah. Now, the credit cards, one has 150 every month. I've just direct debited that. The other one I like to do 200 or above every month. So get rid of those, plus the car, we're already talking some significant money left over. Now I've got the 2 loans. One's 164, the other one's 185. In total, it came to 699.70 something that I tend to pay. I think it was before the car. I did write it down, but I've got it all left in the car. Give me a second and I shall just double check my figures, because they'll be on my phone's calculator. Yeah, sorry about that, I was just doing some calculations there. Yeah, it was about 698.70 something before the car. Okay, so you add the car in, that's obviously, say, 300 quid. So we're talking about £1,000 a month. And I'd worked out that I was going for 25,000 over 5 years. Because obviously when I give the i30 back, I need a replacement car, so I bunged in a couple of quid for that. You can pick up a 1,500 quid Focus, low miles, Mark 1. I can just use that for work. I don't like Fords, but who cares? It's a works car. Who gives a rat's, you know? And now that I've changed contracts, I've got the contract I'm currently in, I'm only doing about 16,000 miles a year commuting, not the 30,000 I used to do. So bonus there. And so I went in, I sat down and I explained the situation. But because of how fluctuating my finances have been this year getting things in place, there's been a few months where I've actually spent more than I've had coming in. And there was one month where obviously we replaced Bert's car. I used my credit card for that. And £5 went onto that credit card in total in that month. The cost of the car, insurance, tax, fuel and some other odds and sods. And of course I don't earn that in a month. And because of the fluctuations, the bank turned around and said no. And I was sitting there and I was like, well, I'm essentially paying £1,000 a month. This will get it down to £450 a month and you're telling me I can't afford it. So it's been one of those weeks. The landlady could probably be selling this. And the bank won't give me money even though it would save me, what, 550 quid a month. And then people sit there and think, well, why do so many people get into all this financial difficulty? Well, things go wrong, okay? Things happen. You take some money that maybe you shouldn't have taken, or you do something that you think is the only thing you can do. And then you struggle, you pay it back, you do what you can. I mean, to be fair, between us, we've gone from 52 down to, like I said, about 23, 24,000 between us. In the space of pretty much less than a year. It will be a year in November. I mean, that's doing well. And I can get rid of about another £8 by chucking the car. But of course I need to replace the car. How am I going to do that? And, okay, yes, your credit card fluctuates because you make certain payments on that to make other payments on this to save some interest here. You do balance transfers and so on and so forth. And the bank's like, no, because, you know, it's all of this. But I'd be saving... Even the woman that was doing the request and everything, when she was looking at all the figures and listening to what I was saying, and obviously I'd written everything down, even she said, well, that is actually a very good idea. It will allow you to pay it all down, and it will make it far more easier for you to pay it. Even she said that. And they still said no. And you sit there and you think, this is why things go so badly wrong. The bank will happily give somebody a loan that has no borrowing and that has never had any borrowing. The bank will happily give a homeowner who's got 80% mortgage left a large loan. Happily. But the bank will not give you a loan that will save you money, making it easier to pay the loan back. Well, the logic in that defies belief. Well, the lack of logic in that defies belief. Because you pay £1,000 a month when you could be paying 450 quid a month. That's a huge saving. That money, the extra money you've got left over, you can chuck towards the loan, pay it back quicker. Now, okay, the bank in that situation will probably lose a little bit of interest, I understand. But the thing is, you are far less likely to go bankrupt at 450 quid a month than you are at £1,000 a month. So, if they leave you £1,000 a month and you go bankrupt, they get none of their money back. Well, not from you, anyway. Or you go into one of these debt consolidation things. Now, at the moment, myself and Bert, we're nowhere near needing that. But you go into one of these debt consolidation things where you agree to pay X amount and then the rest of it's wiped out. So you might pay £3,000 back of all the money that you owe to that bank and the rest is wiped out. Something like that. And so you sit there and you think, well, you are effectively knackering getting your own money back. So I was having a chat and it seems that if I wait a couple more weeks I can probably do an internal loan, which is basically my Lloyd's credit card into my Lloyd's loan. If I can do that, I can save myself around about £200 a month if I take it out over a long enough period of time, and that shouldn't be an issue in a couple of weeks' time, because they've got a system that resets every once a month on a certain date. She did explain it to me, but and of course, like I said, another reason for doing this is the landlady could be selling this place, and so we need to move. And I just sit there and I think, how is this even logical? I've been struggling on for basically over a year, well, about 18 months in total, with finances up and down. And then, of course, all of this year just trying to pay this down, trying to pay that down, getting rid of Bert's IX35 for the Terrican and stuff like that. And you can actually see our debt, my personal debt, decreasing and decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. And it's decreasing at a very healthy rate. But it's not leaving me any money to save. I've got nothing left at the end of each month. And of course, that means that in emergency situations, the only thing I can do is go to the credit card, which I've cleared X amount of, and bung it all back on the credit card. And so the credit card's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But I've got to tackle my loans to bring my interest payments down, to save myself some money, to put more money on the credit card, to bring those interest payments down, to save myself more money, to put more... Do you see how it all gets a bit all over the place? Now, to certain people, you already know this. You've been through it. But to the younger guys, you probably don't. And so you walk in, and I had everything. I had final settlement figures. I had everything written down. I had everything worked out. It matched penny for penny my personal account on their system. The works. She could see what I was doing. She could see that even if I took out the loan and didn't get rid of the car, you know, if I was lying about doing that, which I'm not, then I'd still be a few £100 a month better off, so I'd still be in an easier situation than I am now. Because it would effectively be £699 and change down to around £450. Although looking at their system, the loan that I wanted, it would work out to about £425. So, you know, so I'd be even better off. And it was still a no. My credit rating, if anyone's curious, currently stands, the last Experian check I had, 911. You know, I'm not a 700. I know the top is 999. But I'm not a 750. I actually, at the beginning of this year, I was 500 and something. Well, actually, beginning of this year, the rear end of last year, I was 500 and something. And I've now got back to 911. And it's a no. It begs belief, doesn't it? It really begs belief. So that's basically how my week's been going, which is fan-bloody-tastic. Now, some people will sit there and say, well, the reason the bank's not doing it is essentially they'll lose money on interest. But they won't. They'll actually make money. Because at the moment, I've got 3.5 on my Lloyd's credit card, and I owe 6.4 or 6.5, about 6.5 on the loan. Now, I was looking for 25 grand. So even if I pay that sum back quicker, say 3 years instead of 5, they would still make more interest off of that in that period than they're making off of me the way things currently stand. Because I'm not a homeowner, so I'm classed as slightly higher risk, so my APR would be higher than the 4.9 that's offered online. If you're a homeowner, you get a lower rate. If you're not a homeowner, you're higher risk, you pay more. So they'd actually make more money. And the thing is, the M&S loan, the Barclays card, that would all go to Lloyd's. All the money that Barclays are making and M&S are making will transfer to Lloyd's. So from a purely logical standpoint, it makes no sense. The other thing that makes no sense is the higher risk, more interest. Because think about it, they view you, okay, so if this goes wrong, you're going to lose this, you're going to lose that, you won't be able to pay this, which is fine. So they've got to try and make as much money as they can. Again, fine. But you want to take out, say, a mortgage or a loan or something like that, and you can afford a reasonable repayment. Okay, a reasonable repayment, whatever that may be. But they look at you as though, well, this is your first house, your first mortgage, or this is your first loan, or whatever. And they go, right, we're going to charge you 11.5%, or say 5.6% if it's a first-time mortgage at the moment, okay? And that puts the payments above what you can safely afford. But you need the mortgage, or you need the loan, so you have to go for it. And you can barely afford it, and eventually you get into trouble. And then everything starts going wrong. And the bank stops recouping their money, and various things befall you. But if they think it's going to be harder for you to pay it back, why don't they make it so you pay as little as possible? Because then you'll be able to make the payments. Just an idea. I mean, banks need to make profit, don't get me wrong. They are a company, that's fine. But the thing that amuses me is the interest rate is a set rate, and various lending organisations change the rate depending on how they feel. So if the Bank of England says it's 0.25%, your bank on the high street will probably charge you 5%, making a stupid profit on you, a tidy little sum. Your credit card will probably be something like 12% or 17%, making a huge profit on you. But the thing is, they could all just say 6%. Everybody pays 6%. They're making a tidy profit, everyone can afford it. I'm just saying. It's a little bit like you could sell 10,000 canvases yourself at £30 profit per canvas. Tidy sum of money. 300 grand. Or you could sell 100,000 canvases via Tesco's at £5 a canvas. Profit to you. 500 grand. What's better, a £30 profit margin or a £5 profit margin? Logic dictates 30 quid, but reality dictates 5 quid. I'm just saying. And it's always amused me with finances. Because it makes no sense. It's almost geared to screw the people who can't afford that much out of being able to afford their payments, and thus put them into a very sticky situation that they find exceedingly hard to get out of. Now you might sit there and go, oh yes, well, you know, 1%ers, they get like 2% interest rates and stuff. The 1%ers don't tend to take that many loans unless it's a tax evasion thing. Same with the 5%ers. And it just amuses me. It's like, it's not saving anybody anything. It's causing more people to miss payments and more money to fail getting collected. How does that make sense? But anyway, there we go. I thought I'd do a little update on where I am with things that have been going on, and thought I'd have a little rant, just a tiny one, not a normal kind of rant, but a small little one, and leave you with that really, just for today's upload. It's all wonderful, isn't it? But anyway, thanks for watching. I know this has been bollocks. and I didn't get Pogo Stick into it. Oh damn it, I just did. I got Pogo Stick into it. Hey. I'm going to see if I can do that again now. Just keep getting Pogo Stick into things. But anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share about, do whatever it is you usually do. I shall see you in the next one, whenever that will be. Probably next week. I've got to cook dinner now. See you later, guys.